I'm going to ask some questions because I want some answers. And I'm doing this on behalf of a lot of people that listen to this commentary that be going on. And it's just like, where are they getting this bullshit from? Like, what perspective are they really trying to promote? It's always like this party is promoting this, or left wing, right wing, Democrat, Republican, liberals, conservatives. And it's just like, can we talk to the human people real quick? Can we talk to the people with common sense just real fast? Why are we acting like racism is dead in America? Like, we're acting like black people are complaining about nothing. Like they have everything going for them right now because someone told them, yes, you have something going on for you right now. So you shouldn't complain. Whatever happened to you with slavery, you just bumped your toe, but you good now. You just got a paper cut, but you good now. We shouldn't be talking about anything that happened with slavery. Now imagine a motherfucker having a 400-year head start on you. A 400-year head start where you were treated as property, sold as property, beat, lynched, raped. You were told that you couldn't vote. You were massively incarcerated. Your communities you were put in communities that were less than desirable. And then when you got to a point where black people begin to get more educated, begin to stretch out amongst those urban communities to suburb areas, and start being more part of the middle class, you have other people now saying, well, what you complaining about? Now you should be good. We shouldn't be talking about slavery because there are no slaves today. So let's examine that. Let's examine that. Let's talk about that 400-year head start where that generational wealth, the things that those slaves did to now create wealth for people like Donald Trump, other senators, other congressmen, or whatever the case may be. Forefathers, the founding fathers. Let's talk about the money that we use on a daily basis with those slave owners on that money. Let's talk about a flag that's deeply stained by what has happened with black people in regards to bringing them in here, and it's totally disintegrating generations. Totally disintegrating what they knew to be their native tongue. Changing their names. Erasing part of their heritage. It's amazing to me to hear commentary of people that act like black people have nothing to talk about. They're complaining, they're lazy, look at them looting and blah, 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 blah. Well, this is what I'm saying to you guys, right? This is what I'm saying. Are y'all ready to have a real conversation? Candace Owens, come here. Nick, come here. Are we ready to have a real conversation? Because here's the thing. Instead of pointing out all of the bad shit that you feel like black people have going on, what are the solutions? What are the solutions? How do we fix these communities that you say that are overrun, overpopulated, bad, degrading? It's a bunch of people that just can't get it right. So how do we fix those things? Who do we lean to? We have people that says Candace Owens speaks so well. She articulates so very perfect. And it's so funny to me. It's almost as if you expect black people not to be able to pronunciate, to be able to articulate what it is that they're trying to say. It shouldn't be that she speaks so well. It should be like, okay, hey, she makes some points. Got it. Granted, she does make some points. But my thing about it is it to fix the black community or is it to expose the black community? Is she a part of the black community or does she just have a black face? It's crazy because I see more people that have nothing to do with the black community, but have the most to say about the black community. And they huddle behind Candace Owens because obviously being a black woman, she can say more than you can as a white person because of, again, just like most people say, well, you're going to call me racist if I start talking about the black community. If I point out things in regards to the black community. I want to know if we can have a serious conversation. I want to know, when do we get tired of stating that the black community is so bad? Well, let's talk about the black community just a bit. How do the black community get those drugs into the black community? Like, how do they get those drugs over all of these bodies of water, over all of this land, through customs, past the DEA, past the FBI, past CIA, past local law enforcement? How do the drugs get into the black community? Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not exposing that? So then we put a bunch of black people in one area, projects, ghettos. We put them in that area and we flood that area with drugs so they can self-implode. But no one says, how are they getting these drugs? That's just one point. Let's go to the next point. Why the fuck do we not have local law enforcement, DEA, FBI, CIA, the military, National Guard? Why can't we have them go into those communities and clean it up? If we can go all the way over here to get Bin Laden, you saying we can't go get Tyrone and Craig that's selling drugs in those projects, in those communities, to make it better for those people that's growing up? How about giving those kids a head start? You don't think that's odd? You don't think that's odd? Now here's the thing. Hillary Clinton, or the Clinton administration, when we say that we're going to lock up black people that commit petty crimes for long extents of time. So now we have these fatherless communities where these men are now in jail, angry, doing these extensive bids because of having a dime bag, because of having a crack rock, or whatever the case may be. And now I'm going to give you a public defender that says your only option is to plea out. So you got to do 5 years. You got to do 7 years. Now, when you get inside jail, of course, now you're going to have to get more or become more criminalistic. So now you become an actual criminal. What about the laws used against black people to keep them in their place? It's amazing to me, the commentary that I hear from people who are so far removed from the black community but have the most to say about the black community. But it's never, ever fixing the black community. It's never fixing it. It's always exposing it. Look at those animals, those coons, those niggas. And you sit back on your high horse and you say, well, I'm not like that. I'm so much better. Why are we talking about slavery today as if slavery has not been a goddamn keystone to what America has going on today? There are numerous rich families that are still benefiting from the money generated from those slaves. Numerous millionaires. But we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about all of those slaves that have died in wars to fight for a country that didn't want to fight for them. To go over to Vietnam, the World War I, and all this other stuff, and then to come back and be treated like a enemy in hostile territory. We're not talking about that. We're talking about babies out of wedlock. Okay. You put a bunch of people in one area that the government decides we don't want to clean up. So, what else is there left to do in this area? Your school system sucks. The police force are putting people there in that community, not to police it up, but just to say we got people in that community. Because if we really wanted to clean it up, we would have cleaned it up. We would have cleaned it up. I'm about facts. I'm about looking at the things from a clear lens. And I'm listening to commentary, and it's like, we don't care if you guys kill yourself in that community because we don't live in that community. Then we talk about hip hop, and we talk about, this, and we talk about that. And it's so funny to me. It's like, why do we have shows on TV depicting black people in a bad light? Why is that broadcast? Where's the petitions to stop all of the shit that fucking depicts black people as being these bad, crazy, wild people? And it's like, dude, just as many faults as you can point towards this nationality, you can point at other races and nationalities. But we find black people to be easy targets. Let's talk about what's happened. Let's talk about George Floyd being the tipping scale in regards to black people acting out. Let's say that. For anyone to die in the capacity that George Floyd died in is unacceptable, unreasonable. And for anyone to have discontentment about the way he died is realistic. Someone would say, well, how come they're looting? How come they're burning? Like, what does that promote? What does that present at the end of the day? What is the end result after this? That's a good question. But let's get back to why people feel discontentment. I hear statistics about why are black people mad because more white people died at the hands of police brutality than black people did. So? Fucking so? If they don't decide that this is enough, if they don't decide that we're not having that bullshit, the same way people say you can't move into certain neighborhoods if you ain't got this type of credit score. Huh? If you ain't got this, if you don't have these type of credentials, you can't move in. When people decide that we're not having certain shit, then they speak up. If police brutality was bigger in the white communities and they said nothing, shame on them. But don't give me those statistics when black people decide, hey, enough's enough and we not having this shit no more. Well, what about white people? What about them? Am I saying white people should die at the hands of police brutality? No, that's not what I'm saying. But a jackass would say I'm saying that. Someone with common sense would say, well, why wasn't you screaming at the top of your lungs that police brutality was an issue before the black people started screaming about it? Now black lives don't matter when black people start saying they do. Now black people must say, well, we need to not say black lives matter. We need to say all lives matter because we need to start protesting for the white people that died as well. But when the white people knew that statistics show and that proves more white people are dying at the hands of police brutality, they said nothing. That don't seem odd to you? That don't seem odd to you? Now let's get back to the looting and all of the goddamn burning and shit. Somebody would say, well, these people are acting like savages. They're burning down Wendy's, they're burning down Walmarts, they're burning down Targets and etc. What do you do when you're angry? What do you do when you're angry? You act out. You act out without guidance. You act out without leadership. You act out without a respect for authority. When enough is enough, you act out. What message did that send? It sent for a split second that if black people get mad enough, they can shake the world. That if black people united and used all of their common sense and resources, that they would be a formidable opponent. Do I condone stealing from stores? I don't condone stealing from the stores. But I also know that when you have a system based that is unapologetic to black people, that means that you have credit score based that a lot of people don't achieve. So if you don't have this type of credit score, you don't get this type of credit card. You don't get this type of loan. You don't get this type of house. You don't get this type of car. So we're going to always keep you on a threshold up underneath the average American citizen. So when they saw their chance to get whatever the fuck they got it. You can't oppress a people and expect a people not to react when it's time. Isn't that what happened with slavery? Isn't that why all of those revokes happen on those plantations? I'm tired of being oppressed. I'm about to react. I'm about to get a bunch of people and we about to motherfucking take over some shit. It's amazing to me when people want to outline statistics. They want to throw history. They want to do all these things. But at the end of the day, they never provide solutions. Let's talk about solutions. Black people need bona fide leaders that care more about the black families building, more about fathers being in a home, more about the education system supporting those communities that they've forgotten. We need people that are willing to provide training, to provide not only education, but to provide the know-how, to teach people about credit, to teach people about how you communicate and how you network, to teach people about how you do these things. It is very important. Not only with jobs and education, not only, being at home or whatever, teach them about government. Teach them about those statistics that we use and we throw around and, teach them how to be productive citizens. Because when you leave people in a rut, you give them nowhere to go and their backs against the wall, what do you expect them to do? For anyone that says slavery has not stained America, this is something that they can't wipe away. This is something you can't ignore. I don't care who you are, Bill Gates, Donald Trump. It doesn't matter who you are in white America or who you want to be. The fact of the matter is, if you say that America has not been stained by slavery and the effects of slavery does not exist today, I'm telling you, you're naive. You're naive. Everything from the Constitution, along with every single thing else that has came from our forefathers that are sitting right there on Mount Everest, has affected black people. So when they start talking and saying this shit ain't right, we need change. We need laws that protect black people. We need laws that protect bystanders. We need laws that say, hey, listen, I don't want this stuff in my neighborhood and the goddamn law enforcement should come clean it up. Black people want good neighborhoods. They want to go to good schools. They want to go to good colleges. They want to have good neighbors. They don't want to have to worry about gang violence. People talk as if black people don't want better. They talk as if black people are so far gone, there is nothing they can do on their platform to actually provide an outlet to say, let me give you guys the 411. I listen to people commentate and I'm just like, you are a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. And if you listen to the undertones of the conversation that they're having, the information that they're giving, they borderline fucking racist. Or just ignorant to the actual situation. Anyone that does not apply the application of slavery, if you don't come from that notation that slavery existed, and you push that application throughout time to right now, how does it affect a black man going into an office and applying for a job or applying for a loan? If I got a black name on my application, do you look at me funny? Versus if I have a white name, I come in there with black skin versus white skin. Do you look at me funny? If you're telling me that these things don't exist, you're a fool. You're an idiot. I challenge anyone to an open discussion about the topics that I mentioned. Again, for Candace, for Nick, and for a lot of people have been sending me all types of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, I think that we are blinded by a sense of comfort. If I don't have to deal with it, then I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to mention it, but when I mention it, I don't know why they acting like that. Why are these people responding to the situation like that? Are some people taking advantage of the situation? Yeah. Yeah. Martha Stewart took advantage of what? The stock market? Got locked up? I mean, people are going to take advantage of certain things. Got it. But you got to understand the overall goal. Black people want betterment. And if the government decides to say, we're going to stop pumping drugs into the community, we're going to actually start policing the community instead of just, hey, I'm going to go to the community, I'm going to bash some heads, I'm going to push some people around. If they wanted to clean it up, don't you think they would clean it up? Why is that not the war on drugs? How long do you think if the president of the United States says, my next mission for my next term is to clean up these communities? Why don't they ever say that? Why instead of giving public defenders, why don't they give them like actual lawyers? Why when men and women go to jail, when they get out, there's no type of rehabilitation to get them transitioned back into the world to actually have a job, to actually earn money so that way they don't have to go back to doing petty crimes, actual crimes, or whatever the case may be. Everyone is praising America for being this great, phenomenal place because some people have found the niche to succeed in white America, or to just barely survive, to live check to check. And others are under that threshold of, goddamn, I don't know how I'm going to pay this light bill. Talk about black people wanting handouts. Well, I mean, let's look at the welfare rate. There are a lot of people getting handouts. There are a lot of people that's getting, benefits and shortcuts when it comes to taxes. But you know what's so funny? A lot of those people are rich. But we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about how we make the rich richer. We don't attack anybody that could possibly say some shit to make us look goddamn like, oh shit, put us in our place. We attack the black community. We gonna talk about the black community. We ain't gonna do shit to help the fucking black community, but we gonna point out the fuck shit that they do. Well, I'm here to defend the black community. Let's talk about it. So this is my challenge to you. Feel free to reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Adult up.